What's up guys, and welcome to another Life Stories video. My name's Dylan and today we're going to be looking at the subreddit Tales from the Customer. I hope you guys do enjoy. That doc is definitely writing his own prescriptions. I have scoliosis, curved spine and chronic back pain. I was sent to a spine specialist at the beginning of October, and after an hour and a half bus journey, me and my partner finally get to the hospital. An hour after my appointment, I get called in to see the doctor. My partner comes in with me because he's better at taking in information than I am. I sit down and the doctor starts asking me questions. As he's asking me, I'm watching his eyes rolling to the back of his head. It freaks me out a bit, but I think maybe he's always like that. And then he starts repeating questions, taking ages to reply to my answers. He then starts doing reflex tests on me. And as he's doing these, he's constantly chewing on nothing. I start thinking he's on something, but tell myself that I'm imagining it. He tells us that he's going to go and get another doctor to give their opinion and leaves us in the room. My partner instantly turns to me and says, "That doctor is definitely on something." I told him I think the same. When leaving, he said he'd be about 5 minutes. 15 go by, 30, an hour. Nothing. I walk out of the room to go to the bathroom and have a look around for him. Can't see him anywhere, and the reception's closed and the waiting room empty. I ask a passing nurse if she's seen the doctor. She rolls her eyes at me and shouts into a room where some nurses are chatting. Is he coming back or what? She says he'll be back soon. Confused, I walk back into the room and tell my partner what she's said. After 2 hours, he comes back with another doctor. His eyes are still going everywhere and he's munching on invisible grass still. This other doctor bounces in the door, jumps onto a chair and starts asking questions. Before I can answer, he's jumped back up again and he's pacing the room way too quickly. He's talking at 100 miles per hour, keeps bouncing up and down. Between Mr. Tigger and Mr. chewing his jaw off, I can't get out of there quick enough. We eventually finish and get to leave. On the way out, my partner pulls the chewing jaw doctor aside and says to him, "You must be really tired working long hours." Doctor: "No, why?" Partner: "Dude, you look like you're on something." Doctor: "Shush, shush, don't let anyone hear you." My partner just walked off shaking his head. These two were definitely on something. It was one of the weirdest doctor experiences in my life, and I've been around doctors a lot through my life. It's quite a scary thought, having people that are meant to be responsible for other people's lives abusing the trust that they have. That freaks me out a bit. Oh, is that not cooked good enough? Chain diner / greasy spoon type. I'm with my wife. We are a same-sex couple, but I doubt that's an issue here. We each order various food with a side of hash browns, requesting them to be extra dark. This is part OCD because I can't stomach eating soft potatoes if they're not mashed and hot. She just likes the crunch. Lately, this chain has been serving 1 half-cooked hash browns. Her meal also came with fruit pieces on top, which she asked not to include. She's mildly allergic to fresh / uncooked vegetables and fruits. One would assume that a hash brown is at least a little bit brown, right? Today it was especially bad. We asked for them to be double checked. The hash browns were only a soft yellow on one side, still colder in the centre, and the fruit pieces were all over her dish. The server took both dishes back. I wish she hadn't bothered taking it to the table, because even looking at it made me feel ill. I could hear the chef, a grown-up man, talking like a baby. "Oh, is that not cooked good enough?" Our server said tersely, "No, it isn't. Please cook it how I wrote it down." Over the next hour, I heard other servers with the same problem, each one of them getting baby talked by the chef, who is intentionally getting orders wrong. Things are either under or overcooked, ingredients requests ignored, and a couple of times intentionally added things not normally on the menu nor were requested. My wife, who is normally the patron saint of being polite to employees, asked to speak to the manager about it, and said if the cook talked to her like that, he'd lose his teeth. The manager was apologetic and scrambling to fix everything for everyone on top of dealing with technical issues the POS broke. I never got my hash browns, and my wife's meal came back without the fruit and also other various toppings. The poor waitress was only a kid, so we tried to make it easy on her. She was a 16-year-old with braces and everything. And my wife tipped the kid 30% because the kid was in near tears from all the complaints and having to argue with a man twice her age. One waitress, not ours, even quit mid-shift, threw her apron down and stormed out. Not surprised they've got a sign out front, now hiring for all positions. I can only imagine how awkward it is to have to face up to your boss every single order with another customer complaint. I'm so glad I'm not in that position. I'm on vacation and I had to spend the first 2 days playing customer service. It was exhausting. Airline made me gate check my bag. Okay, no problem. Here you go. I'm smiling. Get to the destination and the wheelchair for hubby isn't there. Okay, things happen. I'm still smiling even though we have to now be the last 2 people off the plane even though we were seated in row 2. Get to the baggage claim and there's hubby's bag, looking like the plane landed on it. Insert deep sigh. But still smiling. Head over to the baggage claims office and there's no one there. Not a soul. And the TSA Skycat won't leave the wheelchair for my husband, but they need to go and can't wait. I get it. I tip them and say they'll help my husband to sit on the floor. No thanks, we'll just wait here and call the airline to send someone. Maybe not a full smile, but thank them for their help thus far. Finally, a crew member comes strolling out from behind the carousels and sees about 5 of us and never breaks his slow roll across the hall. I greeted him with a smile and asked if he worked for XYZ airline, and he said, I do, is there a problem? Me, still smiling, damaged bag mate. Later, we realised that there were items missing and had to call in about that as well to say, hey, the guy said we'd get a replacement bag in 3 days, but the website says processing takes 3 days and delivery takes 5 to 7. Well, Diane at the call centre proceeded to lecture me that the lost luggage agent handled it all wrong and I can't have both a flight credit and a replacement bag, and there's a breach of protocol and this isn't procedure, and on and on. And I'm still smiling. Until I say, well Diane, I'm sorry about all of that and your policy is not my concern. I called her back and she cut me off. And she chewed me out and she told me, oh, you don't care about our policy, is that right? Really? I'm taking away your flight credit and you aren't getting a replacement bag and you aren't speaking to anyone else because I'm the only one here. I've already IM'd with another supervisor and she agrees with me and she's gone for the day. Really Diane? It's 11:20 AM. You're it for the day? You're the only one? You are the Highlander? Yes, I was no longer smiling. I informed her that I had worked for 20 years as an airline employee, of which 13 was in lost luggage as a supervisor. And her actions were deplorable. Secondly, I've spent the last 18 years working for a multi-billion-dollar corporation and work in one of their local domestic escalation areas. And let me educate you on how this call should have gone. And then I did. And she lost her mind. And did exactly what I wanted. And when I told her she can do what she wants because I'm still going to write a letter, she told me, you can't do that. Yes, sunshine, I most certainly can and will. She told me, you don't have to escalate it, I'm going to. We'll see who's concerned about policy. Not me, Diane, not me. By the way, Julie the manager that Diane the Highlander escalated my call to called me about 20 minutes ago. I apologised to her for eventually losing my call with Diane, and Julie immediately stopped me and said it's us that should have been apologising to you. I've listened to a lot of calls in my time, and you held it together way past the point I would if it had been me in your place. There's going to be a little coaching opportunity for the Highlander tomorrow, it seems. It's not to tear her down, but just needs to put the guest first and not talk them down or lecture them, but listen to the guest. Oh, and they're FedExing a bag to us tomorrow, so we'll have a bag to go home, and the $75 credit that the Highlander said we couldn't have, it's now a $300 one. Exceptions, Diane. Policies have exceptions. I have absolutely no idea how the character in this story didn't lose her cool sooner. I've got a really short temper and I would have started screaming down the phone. Pretty salty over a botched birthday dinner. So it's my birthday. The plan for the night was to get drinks and dinner at this wonderful pub, which so happens to be 2 blocks down from the venue we'd be going to later on in the night for a show. My total group size was 9 people, but my boyfriend and I were the first to show up. When we got to the pub, I let them know that we had 7 more people coming in and that we'd like to order drinks and get a couple of appetizers whilst we wait for everyone. We're seated, given waters, and 30 minutes go by. By now, all of my party is here and we're ready to chow down on some delicious pub food. I figure the waitress hasn't taken our order yet because she was waiting on our whole group to show up, even though I specifically stated I'd like to order a few things beforehand. So I lock eye contact and let her know that we're ready to order. She acknowledges me and says she'll be with us in a minute. I don't know how much time passed, but it was long enough for someone, I assume the manager, to notice our table and ask if we'd been helped yet. I tell her no, we haven't been helped yet, but that's okay, we can see the waitress is very busy. Then the manager makes a funny face in a very condescending tone and says, I don't know why she hasn't helped you yet, I'm gonna go and get her right now. 10 minutes go by. Manager comes back in and tells us, I don't know why, but she can't help you, so I'll take your orders. We order some drinks, and we order some appetizers. We order some entrees, and I let the manager know that the check will be divided into 3, and I apologise and tell her I can separate the check for her, as it's kind of a lot. We never received our entrees. By now we've been seated for almost 2 hours and the mood is killed. I really don't know how our table got so messed up. I know a large table can be a nightmare, but it seemed like not one thing went right for our group. Eventually I flagged down the manager, who had been poorly waiting on us for most of the night, and asked her where the rest of our food was. And she tells me, I don't know, but my shift is ending soon, so how about I go and get this all boxed up for you and bring the check? I'm kind of ashamed at myself at this point. I should have asked for a comped meal or ticket, but I really didn't want to kill the mood even more. We knew the venue that we were going to had a bar, so we'd just enjoy drinks there. I really didn't want to have an unpleasant interaction with this woman who so clearly had a lot on her plate, so I accepted her offer. She handed me the check, and all the entrees we never received were still on it, so I made a tiny fuss about it and she pulled them off, as well as taking my drink off. We paid and I tipped 10%. The rest of the night was amazing. I wrote a Yelp review because I was mad about the service, but I'm still mad about it, so here I am posting it all over again. And to be honest, I have absolutely no idea why this customer tipped. It doesn't really make sense. I don't know if she's from America, because I think in America it's kind of standard to tip and some businesses automatically tip and you don't have a choice in the matter. But here in the UK, it's kind of hard to get a tip. It's got to be good service, I'll tell you that. I made a waiter cry and I'm proud of it. So I got up early this Sunday morning and treated myself to a buffet breakfast at a restaurant I frequently visit. The buffet is self-serve and the waiters clean up and bring refill drinks. The place was slammed. I was seated in my favourite waiter's section, a young man from Bosnia who is working his way through college. He's always pleasant, friendly, upbeat and highly attentive. I love being served by him. On this very busy day, people are being very demanding as well as rude, but my boy takes it all in stride and just keeps on working. I noticed, however, that these cheap-ass demanding arseholes are leaving $1 or $2, or stiffing him altogether, whilst leaving a nasty mess at the table. When I left, I went to the wait station and pressed a $20 into his hand. He processed it for a second and said, "Let me get you some change." His first thought was not of himself. I said, "No, that's for you. Looks like you have a bad day ahead of you. I hope this helps make up for it." He started tearing up, pressed both of my hands and said thank you, which made me tear up. I have to admit I was proud of myself for doing a random kindness act and I wanted to share it. It didn't occur to me that I was bragging or that I was karma whoring, and for that I'm sorry. I just wanted to make my boy's day better and let others out there know that not all customers are demanding assholes. For many, many years I was too poor to eat out or to do much for a tip. My life is better now, and I feel like I have several back years of tipping to make up for, so I try to give a bit more when I can. Just remember to be kind to each other. We're all fighting battles. Well, that started with a bit of a clickbait title there on that last story, but I'm glad it worked out in the end, and it's sweet what she did. Well folks, that's the end of the video. If you guys did enjoy, leave a like rating down below, and if you feel like it, leave your own Tales from the Customer story in the comments. I might react to a few in the next video. Thank you and goodbye.